Great. Onegaishimasu. Alrighty. Great. We will just and then just loosen out the arms a little bit. Few circles one side. And this side. So bring them up together. And the other way. Have some nice tight circles. Little way. Just swinging the shoulder height and back. Great, planting the feet, swinging through, raising them up at the top. Great, side to side. Nice and easy, roll over one side. Just reaching up to the top and then sinking down to the ground. Working one side at a time. Reaching, rocking down to the ground. Go to the other side, reaching up. Right, let's take it to a bit of rotation. A little bit of casting the arms out. Great, and then that same feeling, taking it to this one. Just kind of exercise. This is done from like this position. Just play with it a little bit kind of looser, so kind of raising up, swinging it down, but finishing back on the body, so you're kind of coiling with the focus back inside the body. And if you can start with this, once you've got one side, try and feel how the other side is going to kind of balance out as well. So the back side also wants to reach towards the back, somewhere on the back here, the back of the spine. Good. Great, and then just playing with it where your arms are basically off the body all the time. But basically coming back to the hip side. So if you think about it, it's like the figure 8 movement. Back kind of drawing along the hips. To work with one side. And then to the side. Just keeping the arms as loose as possible. And then once you've got that, see if you can bring in both. They're a bit trickier. That's yes. Oh, tricky with it. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Good. Great. We'll just go a little bit inside outside. So just starting nice way through the spine. Okay, now as you come up, you're just going to play with 3 levels. So you're going to close the body out. You've got the high coming up with the arms, really stretching open and out. You've got a kind of mid-level where the hands kind of lining up with the shoulders. And you've got a low level, hands kind of coming towards the hips. Just play with these 3 levels. Opening out, top, middle, low. Top, middle. The whole movement out to the fingertips as well. Think about the tip of the head and the fingertips kind of rolling, opening out together. That's it. Yeah, okay. That's it, perfect. Good. But same movement, you're going to, again, open and close, but focus now on the opening is kind of pressing out with it. So you're going to closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, opening. And you get the feeling, imagine if you think about like a temi work we do, like especially these kind of basic striking movement, think about the hands basically in control of the hips. So the hips are, and the center and the waist are really driving the hands. driving the hands with it. And just play a little bit with the position of the hands so you can do obviously different things with it. Just play here with extending, opening, closing. That's it, perfect. Nice. So we'll now play with like a raising motion and dropping into this kind of tiny anchor position with the hands. So same idea, first kind of closing the body out and then reopen, expanding up, raising up the arms, and then engage from the hip, drop the hands into position, and then just drop back, close, open right up, and then settle to the ground. So you're closing, opening, extending, and then a settling ground. Close, open, close, open, ground. So, that's nice. That's it. Good. Okay, perfect. When you do this, think about as you got this position, you've really got the ground in the legs, right? So think about as you go into this extension, really keeping that sense of the ground coming into the hands. So you're basically extending the feeling from here to here. So see if you can keep the sense of the ground basically in the hands. And then from here, you've got extension, strong extension. See if you can keep the extension in the arms as you find that kind of grounding. So basically get the ground, like you pick the ground up, pass it into the hands, but not passing into the hands. You don't want to draw it up, but you want to extend it, extend the feeling of the ground into the hands. So really find that extension and keep it as you drop into it. Good, perfect. That's it. That's perfect. Perfect. Great. We'll do one a little bit active now. So you're not going again from that closed position. So you're just going from a kind of neutral position. You're just going to press in now. So you're going to press in just one side, draw the hand up and find the ground with it. So you're kind of working with a kind of loose raise up, land the foot, land into the hand. Raise, land into the foot. Raise, land up into the foot. And that similar kind of feeling now. Imagine you're like offering the ground in the hand to someone. So it's like rather than I offer the hand like this, you want to feel like I'm gonna give you the ground. This way. So this is really sharp. So if you imagine a little bit of pressure coming into it. So you've got that feeling like I can really hold the pressure because it's basically loaded onto the hip and the foot. So just get that sense as you go in. But that basically means that the ground's the priority. It comes first, and then this. But if I offer the hand and then the ground's not there. So really allow yourself to find the ground. So we'll take it into a rotation. So the tricky thing now is getting the ground in the hand, this part, in the rotation. So what tends to happen as I go in and then I wait, boom, then to the end. You're going to have that sense again as you go into the rotation, the ground in that, and then you continue it this way. So just work with one side, don't worry about the other. Just keep it kind of connected, but no real attention to it. All the attention goes to the same side connection. You won't really break it down, so you've got the ground and then you rotate into it. Yeah, and the main thing with this, also with any rotation movement we're doing, don't think of it just as a rotation, think of it as an entry movement first. So there's always a subtle kind of entry movement in terms of when we're making a rotation. So with this one, it's rather than a feeling like, oh, I go into the rotation, think about first going into it. So I'm going to enter into it, and then that. Obviously, you're entering the way where you're not going to clash. So that's the kind of point of the hand piece, that I'm not entering with a sense like, oh, I'm going to clash with the person, but I'm entering with a sense that it's that, so I can get to that position. So think first about how do I kind of bridge the gap here, and then find the rotation. But just the rotation is going to be tricky. Good. Let's go to a really simple one. So this is like the 𝒂𝒕 for the Aikido. you've got this side connection. Again, just focusing on that foot, that hand, kind of coming out, that foot, that hand. Don't worry so much yet about the kind of back leg. Obviously, in terms of the technique, you want to be moving that leg next, but just get that sense that connection into the ground. So that connection to the hand. Okay. So you want to kind of chain along the side of the body from the foot to the hip to the hand. You want first like coordination, you want the hand and feet really working together. And then if you can start to think about rooting the foot in the ground, you can start to think about weight, that passing weight through the arm. Yes. There we go. If you've got a Jo handy, just try this with the Jo. So you show it this way, you can see that. So you want just like an open grip on the Jo. The Jo's just kind of standing like you would in 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒂𝒃, just with a nice loose grip on it. So just explore that same movement, stepping out and just finding that position. You're just gonna let the Jo rest in the hand. So you're not gonna do anything to the Jo. You're just gonna move the body, connect with it this way. So you've got a nice loose grip on it, move out, just connect with it. Yeah, that's it, that's it, that's it. This is kind of really obvious, but you basically can't do it with the Jo. So if I go like hand first, the Jo stays in place, right? So what you want to do is like you want to guide the Jo in. So you're going to do that from the lower body. Try and avoid in this case the arm pulling at all. So try and avoid any sense that the arm is going to pull and open out. Think that whole movement is with the body, and relatively that arm's kind of still in terms of the structure. So what you want to avoid in this case, anything which is going to, I'm basically pulling out of the connection. This is a good one. The other one, you can do this with a partner, is like you do this with an open grip. And anytime when I'm kind of pulling out of them or pressing away from them, you kind of find out very easily. So think about, in this case, the sense of fitting into the grip. So you've got a sense of like pulling out the structure without actually pulling your own structure. The Jo's are kind of useful to kind of work with as well. Yeah, that's it, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, perfect. Try bringing in the 𝒕𝒕 now. So when you go off to the side, so you've got this happening, and at the same time, this arm is going to shoot to the face, and you want it to kind of snap in and snap back. So you go out, snap in, snap back. You want to really coordinate this together now. So let that side go out, that, coming back, that, coming back. perfect. Great. Now see that atemi work is basically a cover for me to get the control. So as you slide out now, that just as that movement's finishing, now think about coming back onto the hand, taking the control away from it. So you've got that, snapping onto the wrist, onto the jaw, the end of the jaw. So that. And now coordinate these all together. So by the time I've got to that position, I'm just in a position where I can take the hand. Something like that. 3 things happening all in one move, all in one movement. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. Yeah, perfect. Great. We'll take this a little bit further now. So you're basically going to uproot the jaw. I'm going to take it out of the ground. So you've got this grab. What I want you to think about is again the same side connection. So the same hand that grabs, and that same foot is really going to press in and open out. So this is the kind of the start of the spiral, and it starts at the end of the limb. Once I've got it out, in this case with the jaw, you've got that motion. Think about this leg as it advances. It's opening it out and then pressing in this kind of position. So this kind of movement. So you've got one take and then really with that foot open it out. So you've got a real sense of this together. That's really focusing on one side of the body. This will be the hand that takes the wrist side. So really there. You want to start that kind of motion in the person. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Yeah, very nice. Great. Now think about the second hand and the second leg coming in. So you've got 1, 2, this open out with this leg, this, and then the back foot and the back hand are going to draw into it as well, this way. So you're kind of a little bit like a punch movement in 1, 2 here, and then open out with that leg, and then bring that back leg in with that support, and then the rest of it dropping in, stepping in is easy. 1, 2, open. Open, slide that backhand in and include it with that motion. Drop the hips in, press through it. In this one, imagine you're really shooting the body across. So what I don't do is do this just with the arm, so like that, and then I move this leg, and then I do like something here with it with the arm. So think in this case, what you're trying to do in the person, you're trying to draw them out, and then you're trying to take this spiral over the front this way. So you're trying to get it right over the front where they can't resist it. As soon as I'm working in this area where they can regain the posture, I basically lost the technique, and then you can take it to other places. But the Aikio's kind of lost in this one. So think about this coming here. Now think about the body really shooting into the movement. So this is exaggerated, but you've got like one, and then the whole body slides into it. So you're looking to like slice across the front of the person in this kind of direction. And then the entry point is here rather than trying to be at the front of them. So rotate to the front, think about it's actually cutting over, it's cutting through the front of the person. And then in. So just make that a little bit clearer as you go in. It's also nice body work as well. So you've got the sense of hold. The whole body comes into it, cuts down, steps through. Try with or without the jump.
Michael?
Yeah, sure.
Short question.
Go.
When I had classes from Thomas Nord, he is actually performing this slightly different. So he's trying to keep that extension, balance disturbance. So he's really moving his body to keep it instead of going forward.
Yeah. It's the same. If you think of your grand, if you think of the angle or the range of the arm, you want to basically work with. This is really exaggerated. What I'm doing is kind of exaggerated stuff. What you're looking to, if you think about it, like anything that works in this range is really easy for me to absorb. So, so that's there and that's there. I'm basically really able to absorb it super easy. So that first motion, think about taking the person this direction, obviously, this way, and then you want to maintain that as you go across. So what I don't want to do is go just back in with the arm, and then I basically land in with the arm this way. So think about that. Now think about that angle from this hand, taking it, keeping it in this foot, and it's right out there. For my balance to be taken, it needs to be right out here. Yeah. For the balance to really be gone. So in terms of doing the technique in that, it's like I can do it. Obviously, I've got that and then that. But I need to get a sense that I'm actually like cutting, and especially this hand and this foot, rolling, opening it out this way.
Yeah, and then
basically creating that spiral through the.
And in that particular movement, what I see him doing is actually basically this, and then he's looking here,
right.
This position to keep it, and then he's moving forward.
Yeah. You can do this also. You can do this also. In a way, this is the hard way, but not the hard way.
It's really hard.
It's the hard way. So if I'm here, also when I was in Japan, Nomoto Sensei did the Ikkyo basically like that, and then this, boom, and then dropping in. So it's much more in a way like circular. Like you've got that, and then this hand was like raising up, cutting in, and then dropping down into it this way. So in a way, like there's different interpretations of that movement as well. What I think about also, if you think about this like sword work, like that movement, this is a bit tricky, but I think about basically opening the person out. I can't physically do this one. Like if I get someone stronger than me, this one just doesn't, it will never work. So like what I think about this is like opening that side of the body there.
Yeah, and keeping it open.
That same motion, but just think about a little bit opening out the leg this way. So whether you whether you hold the ground, like in this point. Obviously, if I'm skilled and I've got the center, I can keep it. Yeah. And I don't really need to move around it. So obviously that's like a skill. That's a skill that comes. Maybe, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometime.
Right, sometime, hopefully. So like that, whether you're moving the foot or not, shifting the weight or not, look for that same motion, that same kind of opening out. So you get to the same position, but it's like whether I'm actually, you can shift the weight with it, or you don't have to. Yeah. If I don't have to, I won't.
Yeah. But it becomes really, really hard to keep the extension in your uke, and that is
that's the tricky part, right?
The thing that I feel is when I'm moving here and then moving backwards, it isn't. You're putting your uke back in place.
Yeah.
You put it back in place, and then you continue your movement.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
Right. Exactly.
So. Yeah, it's hard to do on your own.
Right, yeah, it's hard to do on your own. The main thing is that focusing on the sides as well. So actually this way, like keeping down on the ground is actually a good one, because I'm solely relying on, if I do it with connection here, just on that, the hips basically opening and shifting the weight.
Yeah.
Now, if you basically get, in a way, you get there by by actually moving the body in a way. Yeah. And then once I've got that, I basically condense it down.
Yeah.
So you look at basically making the movement smaller then. And if I'm skilled enough to keep the balance of the person and keep that structure out, then why move basically? So
yeah. Definitely not on that stage yet. But it is funny to see those differences where disturbing the structure of your uke still remains the same, but there are
exactly. That's like, in a way, that's the most important thing. So like whether I move the body across or whether I go back this way, go into an urawaza, like it doesn't matter as long as I'm affecting the structure in a way which is taking them out of it. Then this is like this is the priority in a way. So in that. Let's see. Perfect. Good. Great, so we'll go to a 𝒂𝒂𝒿 form. So having said that, all about movement now, we go into movement, fully with the body. So what I want is play with the Jo first. So if you think about this now, if you've got movement in the Jo, like you've got this kind of pathway. Now you can do this variation in terms of the basic, like this one coming out, but it's quite tricky in terms of the timing because you've got the person coming in this, and as I go out, there's a big chance I basically miss them. So the easiest variation in this case is just to follow that motion back. The key difference now, it's the same motion, that same motion, but I'm just adjusting it here, back, this way. So you're going now back and off the line. So as you go here, think about guiding the Jo in to that motion. So obviously you'd have a little bit more of motion in the Jo here, and just following it. But yeah, look for the ground in that back foot as well. So really think about setting up a position where you can go into the technique. But then think about kind of guiding the Jo in. That's it. Okay, you're doing a really strange thing when you do this. When you can do this with a partner. So it looks like you're pulling the hand away, right? If the person comes in and they're doing like this. What you've got to think about this in this 𝒂𝒂𝒿 is think that I'm actually guiding the person in with the hand. So if they commit to the attack, they go for the hand. What I'm basically doing is as they go for the hand, I'm moving it in space. So I'm moving the target. But if they've committed to it, they follow it. So what you want to think is they go for it, and they will just try and follow it because they've committed into taking it. So what you want to think when you do this one isn't that I'm going to do like a big move or pull back with the arm, try and escape it, but I'm actually going to use the fact that they've gone for the arm to trap them. So that hand grab is basically a trap. So I want them to grab it, and I want them to commit to it and follow it. And in this case, the Joe is just going to kind of really flow into the handwork. So, and this is a really kind of subtle thing, but it's the difference between pulling out of the movement or letting them kind of fall into it. So imagine it's like a trap for the person. That's it, that's it, that's it, that's it. That's nice. Great, so now bring in the back hand, bring in what becomes the front hand in this case. So you've got that, think about finding that path into the ground. At the same time, you're gonna, at that maximum point of extension here, take it. And in this case, we're going to the 𝒂𝒂𝒂 still. What you want to do is take it and find that spiral again here. So again, the angle's a little bit different. So what you've got is rolling back, taking it, and again, got that same sense of opening, continuing the spiral out, yet shifting it in, finding it, and coming into it this way. So it depends on how the 𝒂𝒂𝒂 acts in this one. In this case, the Joe. But just have that sense you're gonna maintain that tension through the structure. Yes. Draw the back leg in if you need to. And stepping through with it. Give it a try. Right. Good. Right. The main thing with this one in terms of footwork is there's no real difference in it, but you're basically like pleating the feet. So you're doing like boom, boom, boom with the feet. So what I want you don't worry about the show. This one, just play with the footwork, but I want you to try and show the feet. That might help. So when you do this, think about as you go back, you're basically grounding that back leg to free this leg, to free this leg, to free this leg. But really think about the feet working together. So what you don't want to do in this case is do that where I'm basically stuck, and then I go to the arm automatically, and then the body gets left behind with it this way. So again, really think that whatever you're doing, the body's going to lead it. The feet are going to lead the movement. So just play with it. Don't worry so much about the arms. You're going to get in the hips into a position where they can carry the hip work. So think of the feet always want to be underneath the hips. So the moment I lose that, whoa, I will lose the balance of the structure. So feet all bum, 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 bum. The feet really work together. And you're looking for one leg to ground totally, and the other's totally free to move. But have that sense that they're both in contact. They're both rooting into the ground. So the issue is now stability and mobility. How do I get both of them working together? That's it.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
See you
Nina.
later. Bye.
See you soon. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, Ella.
Bye-bye.
Yes, soon. Right. The same thing, if you think about like Kinonagari with the Joe. Actually, we've got time. Right, we'll go a little bit of Kinonagari work just with the Joe. We'll just do a basic first, so really easy. We'll just go to the fifth subgroup. So you've got the ski, find the base, roll up to the top, and then engage the hip through it. This way. Actually, mix them both, do 4 and 5. So you've got the Gerangaishi or the Jorangaishi. Play with either, it doesn't actually matter. The point just for now is just think about how you're using the feet, shifting the weight of the movement, passing it out of the Joe. You've also got 1, rocking back, Gerangaishi. Work with both sides if you want as well. Okay, great. So the main rule now, as you go into the Kinonagari, the main rule is that the hips don't stop and the Joe doesn't stop moving. So what you want to feel, a full Kinonagari movement is where the Joe stays in motion all the time, right until the end. So the main thing I want to avoid in this case is like I go Kinonagari, boom, but I stop in it, boom, and then I stop in it. So you want no like bumps in the movement or no breaks in the movement at all. So whether it's the Gerangaishi or the Jodan. That. So you really want to feel the hips are guiding it, but they don't stop. So the center stays active all the time. Center stays active. That's it. That's it. Nice. Nice. Okay, perfect. Now just play with the Joe. Don't think too much about the technique. Think about, again, keeping the Joe in motion. So you're going to work like in this kind of space with the Joe. Loosely in an Ikkyo. So think about now basically keeping the hips in motion all the time, working through the hands. So my aim in this case is once the movement starts, to keep the Joe really in motion. So you can play with this Kinonagari form, which is like coming back. And just think about, again, keeping the hips, everything in motion. And imparting that movement into the Joe. Think about this is like this kind of movement. So the hips are always in motion, the hands are following, but there's no kind of break in the movement of the Joe. It's just guided into it. That's it. So we'll just finish with one exercise with like in movement. What I want you to think about now is working with this kind of movement or any kind of rolling movement. And during any motion, what I don't want to do is I want you to just find ikkyo. Oh, don't need to find ikkyo in the motion. So as you go into it, moving. There. Ikkyo kind of come in. Now what I don't want you to do is like look for it in terms of like I'm gonna find ikkyo now. Don't think about it. Just see when it presents itself. So you come in, play with really moving the body. The key is the body work again. So the body will sometimes find itself. Whoops, that'd be different. So the body will just get into position, and then the hands will follow. And when it's kind of offered, you've got to take it. Oh, there it is. One, take it. There it is. One, done. Take it. What? There. What? Great, and then last minute, so just play with it empty-handed. So the same idea. Now, imagine in this case, you've got someone like pushing onto the chest or later punching, but anything which is basically coming towards the chest with an aim to either push in or grab is kind of where. So play with that same kind of thing. So you're constantly in motion, you don't have to be static at all in this one. So you've got movement, let the arms just kind of follow. And you're either moving away from the contact or you're moving, guiding with the arms. Moving, guiding. Imagine the pushes from right to the center of the body. Keep everything in motion again. Rolling the arms, rolling the arms, rolling the arms, rolling the arms. And it's going to come at a point where there's two things I can do. I can either provoke it and get the arm to raise up and then take it, or in the pushing motion, like we do the kinai, I can take the hand or take the wrist and take the objective this way. But both of those involve kind of getting into the movement. Holding in, and then either breaking it, taking it into like a shonishu, or joining with the attack, leading it and taking the kill. This way. Just play with it. Again, the key is staying in motion all the time. When you feel that shape of ikkyo's there, just take it. Obviously, harder with a palm. Predictable. Awesome. Perfect. Right, perfect. All right. And if you ever get if you play this game, play this with two types of people. This is kind of interesting. Play this with Aikidoka, people that have trained for a while, and play it with people that don't know any Aikido at all. Preferably no martial art, but not no martial art. But this idea. So Aikido people are really terrible to do this game with because we train all the time, keep the elbows low. It's very hard to find the ikkyo. So you'll find if you play this with each other, you probably won't find the ikkyo unless you force it. Because most people have a tendency as it comes in to control the elbow. Now, if you get someone that really attacks you without a knowledge of like ikkyo, then you can really take it. So this is kind of an interesting thing, but Aikido people are a bit terrible because they kind of keep the elbows low, keep everything kind of inside the body. Unless they're attacking when they do this kind of thing, then you've got it, then it's easy. So, but anyway, we'll stop that. So if you can play this with a partner, if you can, this is a good game to play. Right. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございます。
Super.